Do you know someone like this? The person who always delivers ahead of schedule, the one with the pristine inbox zero, the perfectly organized calendar, and the career that's on a fast track upwards. From the outside, they are the definition of success. But look closer. This is also the person checking emails at 3 a.m., the one who can't accept anything less than 110%, the one whose mind never shuts off, constantly anticipating the next catastrophe, the person who feels a paralyzing guilt whenever they try to relax. If this sounds familiar, you might be dealing with one of the most misunderstood psychological phenomena, high-functioning anxiety, HFA. And here's the shocker. What if I told you that the secret to your success is also your fatal flaw? Welcome to Psych Blueprint. Today, we are dissecting what I call the Achilles Engine. We're going to expose why the highest achievers are often the most anxious, the brain mechanics behind it, and most importantly, how to re-engineer your mental engine to achieve sustainable success without sacrificing your sanity. To understand high-functioning anxiety, we have to dismantle the old paradigm of anxiety. The old paradigm says anxiety is always debilitating. It makes you freeze. But the new paradigm is more complex. Anxiety doesn't always paralyze. Sometimes it propels. Imagine this. Introducing the central metaphor. You possess an incredible piece of engineering, a powerful and efficient engine. I call this the Achilles Engine. It's incredibly strong, helping you win every race and achieve phenomenal success. But there's a secret. This engine runs on a highly corrosive fuel. Fear of failure, fear of criticism, fear of not being enough. This fuel makes it go faster than anyone else, but it is silently destroying the engine from the inside out. And it has a fatal flaw. It cannot idle. It doesn't know how to rest. This is the core of HFA. The behaviors that lead to external success, perfectionism, over-preparation, overworking, are simultaneously the symptoms of internal distress. Unlike other forms of anxiety, which center on avoidance, HFA centers on control and overachievement as a coping mechanism. It's the belief that if I just work harder and control everything, I can prevent catastrophe from happening. Why is this dangerous? Because it's invisible and socially rewarded. Society doesn't see the corrosion. It only sees the speed. This makes it incredibly difficult to seek help. You feel like you don't have the right to feel bad because your life looks so good on paper. And as we'll see, there's a battle happening in your brain that explains why you can't shut down. And understanding it will change how you view motivation forever. Now let's dive in and take a closer look at what's really happening inside the Achilles Engine. How does HFA manifest? It's a strange mix of pseudo-positive traits and negative internal struggles. The tip of the iceberg, pseudo-positive, highly organized, detail-oriented, proactive, and reliable. The mass, below the water, internal struggles, overthinking, and constant worry. The mind is always in what if mode, need for absolute control, difficulty delegating, imposter syndrome, persistent fear of being exposed as a fraud, inability to relax, feeling guilty when not being productive, procrastination followed by panic, working, waiting out of fear of imperfection, then working frantically. Where does it come from? Often a mix of genetics and environment. Many with HFA grew up in environments where achievement was equated with self-worth. You learned, I am only loved when I am successful. So what is the battle in the brain? It involves the amygdala and the prefrontal cortex PFC. The amygdala, the alarm system, your brain's smoke detector. In HFA, it's hypersensitive. It treats an ambiguous email as a life-threatening danger. The prefrontal cortex, PFC, the executive center, the rational, logical part of the brain. In traditional anxiety, the amygdala overwhelms the PFC, leading to freeze or avoidance. But in HFA, the PFC is very strong. When the amygdala sounds the alarm, the PFC immediately jumps in and says, we must control this situation. It channels that anxious energy into excessive action. This is why HFA feels like having your foot on the gas and the brake at the same time. The amygdala is screaming danger, and the PFC is desperately trying to steer the way out. The reinforcement loop. This mechanism gets stuck. You worry, you overwork, you succeed, you get validation. Your brain learns. Anxiety plus overworking equals safety. The corrosive fuel is rewarded. Let's address the biggest question. If I get rid of this anxiety, will I lose my edge? This is a lie that HFA tells you. The difference lies in the source of the motivation. Healthy drive is moving towards a positive goal, passion, values. When you succeed, you feel pride. HFA is running away from a negative outcome, failure, criticism. When you succeed, you only feel temporary relief. You won't lose your drive. You will change its fuel. Value-based fuel runs cleaner, more efficiently, and sustainably. Isn't this just being type A? Not quite. Type A personalities enjoy competition and achievement. People with HFA are compelled by achievement out of fear. The difference is the level of internal distress. What is the long-term impact of running on corrosive fuel? You can only sustain this for so long before the engine fails. And that failure doesn't look like what you expect. Let's go back to Sarah, our architect. Sarah is winning contracts, but her relationships are crumbling because she is never truly present. Her physical health is declining. Chronic migraines, and stomach issues due to elevated cortisol. She is unhappy. Success built on a foundation of anxiety is unfulfilling. The long-term consequences, the engine failure, burnout. This isn't just being tired. It's a state of complete emotional, physical, and mental exhaustion. Suddenly, you can't do anything. Physical health issues, suppressed immunity, heart disease, chronic digestive problems, loss of creativity and risk-taking. Ironically, HFA eventually lowers performance. You become so afraid of making mistakes that you stop innovating. You play it safe. The Achilles Engine is a bad deal. You trade your inner peace for external achievement. The good news is you can renegotiate that deal. How do we repair the Achilles Engine and replace the corrosive fuel with something sustainable? Here is your blueprint, resting on 3 pillars: awareness, regulation, and reframing. Pillar 1, awareness, understanding your engine. You cannot change what you cannot see. Strategy 1, the fuel audit. Point B action. For the next week, track your activities and ask, am I doing this out of value and purpose, or out of fear of what happens if I don't? When you catch yourself checking email for the 5th time, acknowledge it. This is fear fuel. Strategy 2, name it to tame it. Give your anxious voice a name. For example, the taskmaster. When it starts criticizing, say, thanks for your input, taskmaster, but I've got this. This creates psychological distance, cognitive diffusion. Pillar 2, regulation, soothing the nervous system. You cannot reason your way out of anxiety when your body is in fight or flight mode. You need to soothe the nervous system first. Strategy 3, the physiological break. We need to activate the parasympathetic nervous system, the physiological sigh. This is the fastest way to calm the nervous system. 2 quick inhales through the nose, followed by a long, slow exhale through the mouth. Repeat 3 times. Science shows this immediately lowers stress levels. Strategy 4, mandatory downtime. This is the hardest one for people with HFA. You must treat relaxation like a non-negotiable task. Remember, rest is not a reward. It is an essential part of high performance. It's when the engine gets maintenance. Pillar 3, reframing, changing the mental map. Once you are calmer, you can challenge the rigid thought patterns, cognitive distortions. Strategy 5, challenge perfectionism with the 85% rule. Perfectionism is the enemy of completion and peace. Instead of aiming for 100% impossible, aim for 85%. Recognize that the last 15% of effort often brings diminishing returns. Practice getting things done when they are good enough. Strategy 6, redefine self-worth. Decouple your worth from your achievements. Identify your core values, e.g., compassion, curiosity, connection, and measure success by living those values, not just by work outcomes. Changing these The journey with high functioning anxiety is complex. It requires you to honor the part of you that has worked so hard to protect you. Your drive and intelligence are genuine gifts. But you know now that your Achilles engine doesn't need the corrosive fuel of fear to run. We started by looking at why success often feels terrible. We learned how the interplay between the amygdala and the prefrontal cortex creates the loop of overworking. And we laid out a blueprint for changing that fuel through awareness, regulation, and reframing. The ultimate goal is to change your relationship with anxiety. True success is not just what you achieve, it's how you live. It's being able to enjoy the fruits of your labor without a sense of dread. It's knowing that your worth is inherent, not contingent on your performance. You deserve both success and inner peace. And now you have the blueprint to build it. If you found value in this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to Psych Blueprint for more deep dives into applied psychology. And I want to hear from you in the comments. What did the fuel audit strategy reveal about your motivation? Share your story. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.